Just waiting for them all to come in, and then I want you to start getting your thoughts together on how it's been for you, this conference. Start those if you've got any nuggets that you want to share. Ellen, tell me when everyone is here and I will start talking.
We've got Liv back, which is excellent. Karen's just... I think that's nearly everyone.
Cool. Liv, do you want to start? No, that was a definite no. Clear no then.
No, I've just had to restart my computer and I've lost the poem, so I'm just looking for it. So I just need a little bit of time.
All right, no worries. Shall I make a start, Ellen? Okay, well, there's 2 pages of you. That's great. So welcome to our final session. Feel free to get some kind of beverage, alcoholic or otherwise. Us girls have all got gin, which we should be cracking open in about 20 minutes. So this session is a chance to share with us, NRTF, and each other what the conference has really meant to you. It would be really great to either hear chat in the stories or in the chat, to put your stories in the chat or reflections, or you might want to share them with us live and you can unmute yourselves and do that. It would be good for you to think about some kind of priorities that you might have kind of gathered over the conference days. Any particular outcomes or actions that have made you think, oh, I must do that. Or things that you would like to remember from the conference, any sessions, or are you deciding to make any commitments to anything because of the things that you've heard, and which sessions really resonated with you? Does anybody want to come in on that? I'm going to go straight to Ellen because she has been our amazing tech manager throughout this. And I know Ellen from, yes, round of applause. I know Ellen through fringe festivals, and I know she knew very little about rural touring when I said, can you do this? And she said, yes, sure. So I was just wondering if you've got any reflections on the rural touring sector now.
I think I've definitely learned about the kindness, the openness, the real sense of community that exists in the rural touring network, and how willing to share and willing to participate everyone has been. And I think that's been marvelous over the conference. You've borne with us while we got through tech and when we had good days and bad for the conference, let alone for future shows and for future projects. And it's been a great reflection for me because I do have a show that I actually think now might really suit the rural touring network in a black box two-hander. So hopefully you might see me out on the road soon with a show from Australia. So fingers crossed. But thank you for having me and for teaching me all about rural touring. I think it's been a really, really exciting few weeks or 4 days of content.
Yes. Thank you, Ellen. Does anybody else want to talk about any sessions that have particularly resonated with them? Are there any particular days that were useful? This is your moment to share. Come on, someone.
I'll go. I've got a couple of things that I've pulled out from my notes that I scribbled down each day. I think day one, when we had Dave Young, the shouting mute, and I copied down a couple of lines from his poems. One of them was piss off tick boxes, which I thought was brilliant. And another one was it's suicidal not to work together, which I thought was just, it summed it up. We also had day one was very much about what can we do to make you feel welcome? And it was about asking that question to everyone, to your audiences, to the artists, performers, to the venues. Day 3, Paulie Constable said inaction is not an option.
Yeah.
So I've put that on board. And day 4 today, Lanray reminding us to breathe. And Phil Holyman this morning started us off with an analogy from the Chainsaw Massacre when he said, who will survive and what will be left of them? Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I mean, there's loads of really amazing quotes, so I want to be able to sit down and listen to everything all over again.
Anybody else? It's going to leave a silence until someone speaks. It's going to be awkward if you don't. Or shall I pick on someone? Yes.
I don't mind going. The first week session, and it was Jo who did it. Is it Jo Vermont? She was brilliant in that workshop session with the cards, which Live and Local have now got a nice set of to use, because it really got us talking and thinking. She, for those who weren't at it, it's if you've played the the card game where it gave you a topic, so like you were at a poetry event, then it gave you a place, so we were in the park, and then it said you've got someone going to this event who is deaf, and we had to talk about how we would make it accessible for them, and it just made you think out the box. But often some of the simplest ways of doing it were the best ways. That was really inspiring, and good practical knowledge as well from that one.
Yeah, I was in that session. That was really good. She had the cards, which was brilliant. Anybody else want to share? What about Father Christmas? There we go. Gav, tell us your wisdom.
Ho, ho, ho. Long story. The library day was really, really informative and powerful for me. I'm actually doing some live Zoom-based storytelling for Manchester libraries coming up now, and more for Christmas, and forging roots and connections. So that was really helpful and got me very focused.
That's good. Gav, you have been very engaged in the conference.
It's been brilliant.
You have you're quite high up on the old leaderboard there, which we can talk about in a minute. Anyone else before we ask Liv to read some high flues?
Ellen has popped in the chat. Presentations and discussions have been really interesting, and I have appreciated being able to revisit the session on playback. Thanks, NRTF team. Yeah. And then Stevie Thompson has put, very much enjoyed all the sessions connecting across the regions.
Oh, cool. That's good. David, did you have your hand up?
I did. I would echo our thanks to you guys for putting together an extraordinary conference. I don't know what my expectations were, but you've certainly exceeded them, both in the breadth of topics that we've covered over the last few weeks, the ingenuity and resilience of the people working in this sector is just amazing, and it gives me great hope for what's going to come next month, next year, next decade, and when I've gone. I've picked up some few points over the days, and the one that comes top of my list is every place matters, every person matters. I can't remember who said that, but that really resonates, because I think this is a game changer where we move from being just place orientated to being people orientated, and I think that's a fabulously exciting shift.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you for pulling that bit out. That's really good. Did someone else have their hand up then? Oliver, did you have your hand up, or was that did you have your hand up?
I didn't actually, but I was just sort of, I don't know, scratching my nose or whatever. I enjoy the library day. I thought that was particularly useful. We've done a few library things, but not very many, from a music point of view. But I did think that, I'd like to see more music. That's a conversation we've had before. But yeah, I thought the library one was particularly interesting as everybody seems to be moving in that direction, and it's a whole area of non-rural, mostly, I guess, non-rural situations for rural touring, sort of size and vibe and feel. And I think maybe has the same age profile as well, yeah, so I thought that was new opportunities for rural touring as it goes a bit more urban.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to reflect on what's been a highlight or important for them? I can't see page 2 hands up, so if you've not got, if I'm not saying your name, just start speaking.
Everybody's clearly absorbing everything that's happened over the past month.
Yeah, it's still going in.
If you did miss anything, Attendify will remain accessible for at least a month, I believe. But a lot of the things that all the sessions we've recorded, and we will be putting up on YouTube and as permanent resources on the NRTF website as well.
Yeah, they're here to stay. It's learning we're going to keep. And like David says, the expectations, we didn't have any expectations. We didn't really know what we were doing at the beginning of the month. So we've learned quite a lot on the hoof. So with that, I'm going to go to Liv, who is going to read some of your high flus that you wrote for us, inspired. They were kind of flocking in at one moment.
Yeah, these are the ones that you guys have written. I must admit, I did take out the ones people who kind of got their syllables and words mixed up and ended up doing quite long ones. So I've tried to stick to the ones that are strictly high flus. There was a lot about rain. Don't know why. So here we are. I've called it, NRTF rain. I've been working hard to take every new chance in this strange new world. Endless screens and lights stuck in with wobble bottom, waiting a rescue. Grey fragility, reaching for coming days off, yearning for release. Sadly, rain falls down inside. Bright light from a screen, warm beams on my face. The droplets won't stop. I need to breathe air inside, with cats on my lap. Waiting on results, positive or negative, stuck indoors till then. I would like some lunch, to go out or not to go. Old rules were simpler. Crumpets and cheese or soup for lunch, that is the question. Rain on windows, how are you doing today? What tier are you in? The world is still weird, arbitrary annoyance. It's the new normal. Exhausted, inspired, trying to make the most of these strange times. Don't cry at poems, internet unstable. Oh, must do Q&A. COVID makes us doubt, fear, mistrust each other, but love breaks this chain. Wise words every week, conference now virtual, keeps us together. Mud swallows footprints, tree branches hug their neighbours. More rain is coming. How am I? Very full of my feelings, overwhelm in it. That's your lovely high flu poem. You did a great job, everyone. I'm very impressed.
That was awesome. I loved that. Don't they sound brilliant, all linked together like that? That is amazing. Thank you, Liv, and thank you.
My pleasure.
So before we go, I want to do some thanks, and we're going in a minute, but don't leave, because Rob G has been writing a poem about you all and about this conference all day. So he is going to have the final word of the conference. But before we do that, I want to say a massive thank you, a sincere thank you to all the 60 plus speakers, artists, poets and panelists who have been part of the conference. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for sharing your talent, your great minds and your creativity with us. I want to thank the 450 people who have booked a ticket to this conference and who have been viewing the conference live and been joining remotely and post the days as well and catching up. Your comments have been great. And please continue to interact. Go back and watch sessions you've missed or watch them all over again. I've already watched Ruth's twice today. So, for instance, massive thank you to the NRTF Board of Directors for their continued support. Many of them you've heard throughout the conference. So thank you to them. Thank you to the Arts Council England for their funding and support, and lots of the relationship managers have been with us throughout the conference as well. My main role in this conference, which I've been reminded of a few times when it's been stressful, was way back in May when we decided to go online. Apparently I said, let's be ambitious. If we're going to do this, let's go big. And there have been moments through this when we thought we took on too much. But here we are, and it has most definitely been worth it. So that said, my biggest thanks goes to Steffi, Ellen and Jess, who have made this happen, have been utterly incredible and have worked crazy hours to deliver the conference. They've been doing this in extraordinary circumstances. One is in a flat in total lockdown. 2 of them have moved house twice this month. One temporarily into a caravan during a storm, and one is one of the thousands of people stranded in another country, visaless, flightless and homeless due to COVID. They're an extraordinary dream team, and this just wouldn't have happened without them. So thank you. And thank you, everyone, and over to you, Rob.
Well, thank you. Hello, everyone. What a lovely day. Thank you for having me. So I've written a poem which encapsulates things as best I can. It is reassuringly less than 45 minutes long. So I'll blast through and I'll see you on the other side. I hope you enjoy it. Interestingly, we cover similar bits. You'll notice. If 2020 had a movie tagline, it would be, "Who will survive and what will be left of them?" From the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This year, we've seen the viability of the creative sector very publicly brought into question. And despite the best of intentions, we won't all be part of the future landscape. So it's essential that we support each other, whichever direction we're moving in. Some form of creative sector will always exist. So let's watch each other's backs and remember to check in. If we can be upfront about the challenges we're facing around the virtual table at that Zoom meeting, don't dodge the ball of talking openly, because we're not alone when we have those feelings. So before Marley's ghost comes clanking back, let's take a moment to stop and backtrack, because remember when we dared to dream, we flew higher than the tower blocks, however they were stacked. So let's clank each other's chain and dance again, and don't hold your dreams together with wax. Try and connect with the place where you are, because the land itself can be a source of wisdom. So talk to a tree and have a listen to the leaves, and don't tell your psychiatrist about the conversation. We need diversity within teams and communities, because every place and person matters. And at a time when the immediate future seems at best to be in tatters, we all know that what we do in the creative sector can transform lives and help people feel better. Mental health is being human. In telling our stories, we learn who we are and what we give. So take a breath of fresh air whenever you can. Bring some greenery into the place where you live. Be careful of that Zoom fatigue and protect your peace of mind. Have yourself a listening walk, and if you can, from time to time, take yourself to unusual places and don't get drawn into press-up challenges. Art can help us speak our truth, whether you're a cleaner or a yuppie, and any of us have the potential to be a leader, whether we're a 4-year-old or a puppy. We all make a difference with the little things we do. Poetry has the power to transform lives, whether it's a limerick or highflu. It brings people together with a shared experience as an antidote to social isolation and indifference. When we engage with creating, we show the essence of ourselves. And when we engage with each other, it helps our mental health. Writing can help us reflect and grow, whether it's a stream of consciousness or questioning how we cope with the sometimes overwhelming sense of pressure, like dodgy British sausage meat. We can't always hold it together. So use the NHS's 5 steps to well-being. Connect, be active, and don't stop learning. Give help to others and be present in the now. Find the courage to tell people when things aren't working out. Set yourself some new achievable targets. Write things that work for the rural demographic. Talk to your touring schemes when you're starting to plan your tour, because when this is over, it might not be like before, but maybe in a small way we could start a little ripple here today. And in the post-lockdown landscape, we can laugh together again. Remember, mental health is really about living, and life is about learning to dance in the rain. Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you, everyone. Closing party backstage right now with gin.